Today I'm going to be speaking about the holographic maze. In a way, we are trapped in what you could call Maya, or a holographic maze. That is a system or creation of life or other beings, whatever you want to call it, where you get trapped. You get trapped in a holographic maze, believing that you're something and identifying with things outside of yourself, and including the body, which is outside of yourself, and therefore being deluded all the time by these distractions, distracted by all these objects. And in that way, it's a holographic maze. It's a trap, a big maze, where a labyrinth in which you walk around, and there's a party here, and there's a body there, and there's something attractive here, and there's a new car there, and there's always something, a new movie coming out, and always the attention is drawn away from the source, drawn towards the beautiful dances of Maya, the attractive activities of the world, the riches and the poors and the dinners and the good food, and the women and the men and the attractiveness of that. And in a way, that holographic maze is designed to see whether you want to be your original state of being or not. As long as you're identified with those things in the holographic maze, then you are a prisoner, if you wish, of the holographic maze. Whether that's voluntarily or involuntarily is something we can debate. I don't enjoy debating these things, but you can inquire into the nature of it and evaluate whether you can see that as a prison that you actually, as a free being, were trapped into, or actually voluntarily opted into as a game of playing lost in this maze and seeing whether you could find your way back out to the source. I could see it more like that. It's a game. It's God playing games with itself. You are just a piece of God that pretends to be lost in this maze. But for those who are sick and tired of the suffering and the pain of this game, this maze, this holographic maze, there's a way out. And that's what the masters really spoke about. For example, if you take Siddhartha, which later was known as the Buddha, Prince Siddhartha finally sat underneath a tree, and no matter what assaulted him, no matter what attracted him, no matter what danced in front of him, whether it was beautiful women or good food or even horrible, dangerous, frightening stuff, he just sat still and quiet, because he was more in love with the stillness of his true being, with the silence of the original void, with the quietude of presence, awareness, pure perception. He was more in love with that because he was tired of suffering and pain and all the dances, as beautiful as they may be, as beautiful as this world can be in its natural forms and its food forms and its female and male forms and all of the attractions that are so lustrously, incredibly, fantastically wondrous. When you're tired of this life as a maze being, as a holographic, wanderer, then there is a way out. And the way out is really not by continuing to look through the maze. It's not really going left and right and ending in dead pockets or in beautiful, resorts with all the stuff that you love, or buying some new things that you're going to make you happy, or finding new friends and things to do. But the real solution through the maze is not left or right or back and front, but it's straight down, right? It's melting through the floor of the maze. The maze is endless. It's just layers of the matrix. It's just layers of holographic programs. Once you think you've surpassed one, you figured something out, there's another one to be figured out, and another one, another one, another one, and then you come back to where you started. You suddenly find out, shit, I've been walking for a couple of miles and I'm back in that room that I was an hour and a half ago, or a day and a half ago, or a year and a half ago, right? Or a decade and a half ago, you know it. You're like, shit, I'm repeating the same old thing over. Because the real exit through the maze, out of the maze, is through the floor. And by melting through the floor is the only way out. So although the floor seems solid, you have to become as still and silent that you're more silent and more quiet and more immaterial than the floor is. And by doing so, you become like wax, like melting wax, that just seeps through all the cracks in the maze floor and melts through the bottom into nothing. So stillness is the way out. Non-identification. Dropping everything. Letting go. Surrender. Surrendering all your concepts. Surrendering the mind identity, the ego mind, the need and urge to work things out through mental activity, thinking, verbing, wording, and just allowing your attention to drop and focus on the very presence of the attention that you are, the pure perception that you are. Stillness is meditation. Meditation is the ability to disidentify from all forms, and mostly mental forms, concepts, and allowing you, yourself, your real presence, awareness, to simmer, to marinate, to bake, and slowly become acquainted with itself again. That makes you like wax, and that wax will melt straight out of the maze, straight out of the holographic programming, the trapping system that you are now in. Stillness is the way. Meditation is the way. Disidentifying from that is the way. The way out is through the floor of the maze.